All right, let's get to your Freebae episode, but first, let's thank the Aurora Law Firm. Mad Dog Manny Aurora, based out of Georgia, litigates all over the United States. So if you are the criminal type, like our friend Branden, white-collar crime, DUI, drug offenses, appeals, and more, the AuroraLawFirm.com. Get hold of the Mad Dog. And any questions that you might have for the Mad Dog next visit on this program, please send them to me via thebaileyshow.com. Dr. David Markwell and his 10 therapists at Ridgeline Counseling. You need help, get help. 3 locations there in Georgia, across from Sprayberry High School in Sandy Plains in East Cobb, Marietta near the Square, and McKaysville outside of Blue Ridge. But he also offers, and I know this firsthand, virtual sessions. They're very easy, very comfortable, and very good. MarkwellTherapy.com, or shoot him an email directly, ridgelinecounseling@gmail.com. Inspect All Pest Services, providing the highest quality termite, pest, and wildlife control, but that's not all. We'll take care of your insulation. Very important. You want to know why it's hot? Because your insulation sucks. Possible. Pressure washing, gutter maintenance, and other home services in Metro Atlanta and the surrounding areas. Thank you, brother. Nick, you're the man. InspectAllServices.com. All right, let's begin.
What do we want to talk about?
To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Welcome to the Bailey Show podcast, a guy show women love to listen to.
Intellectually immature nonsense.
That's BS.
That's BS.
That's BS.
That's BS.
Okay, then, let's do it.
All right, there it is, your Freebae episode 203 of the BS. Thanks for being here. My name's Jason Bailey. Right there is the iron-fisted one himself, Mr. Chuck Lunsford. Hello, Chuck E. Cheese.
What's up, man? I went to the movies yesterday, and I realized that they are completely out of ideas for movies. So,
What'd you say?
If
hold on, I got a story about that. There's the B-Man, Branden Thrasher. I think he's alive. No expression on his face. Looks like he's embalmed. I got a smile. There he is. B-Man.
Yeah. I'm doing good. Good morning, everybody.
Hey, good morning, everybody. So here's If is the Ryan Reynolds movie. If
Yes.
stands for imaginary friend, right?
yes,
So months ago, my wife and I, Rach and I, wanted to go see a movie. Just like you said, very few options. But we both, especially me, we love going to the theater. I love going to the theater. It's the only opportunity that you have to, for the most part, get off the grid. You turn off your phone. It's in complete silence. You can eat kind of shitty food and still feel good about yourself. You have a big old soda pop. I mean, just everything about the theater I will always love, right? You've isolated yourself from the rest of the world. And all you hope is that the movie lives up to some of the expectation of whatever that may be. The picture, the trailer, whatever the case.
yes.
So I think this was actually right before we left California, actually. And we're like, let's just go to the movies. And she goes, I want to see that new Ryan Reynolds movie, probably because of Ryan Reynolds. But, I was like, oh, If. And she goes, yeah, the imaginary friend thing, like thinking that she was clever because she knew what If stood for. And so I was like, all right, that's cool. Book it, Dano. And so she goes on to Fandango and she says, all right, I got us tickets for, 7:30 or something at the theater. I was like, all right, great, let's go. So we both go into the movie to watch If, Ryan Reynolds' new movie, months back. And we've already seen the trailer, so we just figured it was out.
Yeah.
And we sit down in the theater and we're watching the movie and I'm like, both of us, you could tell we're thinking the same thing. This movie's starting slow. Like, where's Ryan Reynolds at? Where are these imaginary people? There was kind of an inkling that we were going to get there, but it just took forever. And then the movie took a weird turn. It started to get gory, graphic, and violent, and it was very horrific. And so I get on my phone and I look it up. Her dumbass booked the wrong movie. There is another movie.
What'd she book?
It's called Imagine or Imaginary, and it's like a horror movie. And so I'm looking at my phone, and I think after like a certain period of time, she realized she fucked up,
Mhm.
and she just didn't want to admit it. She has a problem with that.
Yeah.
So I look at her in the movie and I show her my phone. I go, "Hey, dumbass, you booked the wrong movie."
Yeah, it was. I'll be honest. You didn't miss much. It wasn't. It wasn't. Obviously graphic or it wasn't a horror movie. But I did the same thing. We went because I'm like, dude, look, I'm a huge Ryan Reynolds fan. John Krasinski's in it, and I love him. I think I was like, Steve Carell is one of the actors. I mean, this was like, you can't lose, man. You can't lose. You got a great cast. And then all of a sudden, I'm watching it, and about halfway through, my daughter looked at me and she's like, "How much longer?" And I'm like, "Okay, that's not good. That's not good when a kid says how much longer." And I was like, 20 minutes because that's my go-to. Well, I'm watching it and I'm like, wait a minute. It's about imaginary friends. And then you're watching this and you're just waiting. You're waiting. Like, okay, well, where's the payoff? Like, where's the, oh, that's why, all these imaginary friends are looking for children. And then eventually it gets to the end and you're like, what? It's dude. And then not only that, there's been other movies like this where you'll have huge actors make a small cameo in a movie. And so we, for some reason, stayed for some of the credits because they had like the flashback thing. And there's a character in the movie called Fred, I think his name is, and he's an invisible imaginary friend. And they make fun of him the whole movie because they're like, what psychopath child creates an invisible imaginary friend? And they keep tripping over him. Ryan Reynolds keeps tripping over him. Well, that actor was played by Brad Pitt, but there's not one word said by Fred, not one. And I'm like, what? I don't get it. So anyway, I think Hollywood has ran out of ideas. We've officially reached the bottom.
Well, I'll get there. There's a movie that I went to go see. I don't know if I want to talk about it today. Why does Branden get up every time? It's so
He's
distracting.
got to throw up.
Something is wrong with the guy. Like
It's called bulimia, Jason. It's called bulimia.
especially with the Freebae episodes where he, like he doesn't understand camera ready at all. Like we post the Freebae episodes, including the Monday Honey I Raised the Kids episode, the full episode, like for YouTube, our YouTube channel at The Bailey Show. People like, there's a community for the video version. They like to see me move my hands. They like to see the Darth Vader in the background, the coffee, what we're drinking, whatever it is. And we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Branden doesn't understand that. And he must get up 20 times a show and just disappears. He doesn't say anything and then just disappears. Something is wrong with the kid. Something is wrong with the kid. Anyway.
I like it.
So, yeah, I was actually going to bring up another movie. I was going to bring it up tomorrow, probably, because I got something else I want to talk about this episode. But anyway, I have a theory on actors doing movies like this, like a Ryan Reynolds, because I think Ryan Reynolds is a dad now. Am I right? With Blake Lively?
Yes.
So if you're that status, and John Krasinski, I believe, is a dad. And I think this is a John Krasinski movie.
It is. It's directed and written by him. It's really weird.
John Krasinski, for those that don't know, was the guy in The Office with Steve Carell, and he also does Quiet Place. That's his movie. He directed it, wrote it, or whatever, I think. So I get this, and you should probably understand this too, Chuck, as a father. If you have the opportunity to put together something that your kids can watch, and you're kind of the star, and it's all, maybe some of it came from your kid, and then later down the road, they say, I inspired that kind of thing. Hit or miss. I mean, obviously you want it to hit, but you know what I mean? Like,
I just think you want kids to understand it. And that was the thing I told my wife, I said, John Krasinski's in the movie. He directed the movie. He's got small kids. I would know, yo, man, we are going way too deep here, like way too deep. And that's what and like all my kids, man. And that's the worst part. When you leave a movie and you have multiple children and they all look at you with 50 questions and they're like, well, what did that mean? What was his sickness? Why was he in the hospital? What surgery? And you're like, I don't know, kid. Like it was really, really weird in that aspect.
Well, I'd assume the struggle with making a movie like that is, the trick is the old Disney trick, right? How do you make a kids movie that's adult friendly?
Yeah.
So which I wouldn't even know where to begin. So that's you want adults to go in there and go, oh, I get that, but then you want the kids to go, oh my God, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they struggled with. Who knows? Probably if you went back and watched it high, which I know you don't do, but
Yeah.
did I,
just watch Garfield next time.
I didn't tell you this. I didn't say this on yesterday's show because I just briefly kind of browsed over my birthday trip to Cocoa Beach. Did I tell you that my wife drugged me?
Shut up.
I swear to God. So we go to Cocoa Beach for my birthday, and she brings a cookie, a special cookie. And I said, where did you get the special cookie? She goes, I forget where she said she got it, but she's had it for a long time. And she goes, when we get back tonight, let's have the special cookie. And I said, what's in it? And she goes, I'm assuming, it's a weed cookie. I was like, all right, cool. Let's have the weed cookie. She goes, but it's, it's kind of old, so I don't know if it's less potent. And I'm going, all right, well, whatever. Let's just have the cookie. And so we get back and we have the cookie. And within like 20 minutes, we're both like in comas. I mean, we weren't even high. It was the strangest feeling. Whatever was in this special cookie that my wife brought on my birthday trip to the beach drugged me. I think my wife roofinoled me. I think that's
freaking. She's like, hey, Jason, you ready to let the dogs out? You want to let the dogs out?
Right, exactly. So I think my wife roofied me on my birthday trip with this special cookie. But the only problem was, the up part of getting roofied, right, is that you have sex and you wake up the next morning and you kind of remember. Like we woke up the next morning with a hangover. So it was like the worst roofing cookie ever from my wife. Like, and I don't think I've ever been roofied before, but if that's the way it feels, that sucks. Like I wanted her to take advantage of me, but we couldn't move. That cookie was so bad. That's how bad the roofie cookie was. But I've never thought my
freaking married Bill Cosby.
Right. I never thought my own wife would roofie me. That's the point of the story. Anyway, so the movie Bad. Branden, what's the deal? Why do you get up and leave like 20 times a show? I don't understand.
I only do it one time normally. I just had to throw up again, but it's like a hotel. I just got to come check in real quick, and then I gotta go throw up real quick.
Well, I want you to participate, and you usually do, but lately you've just been so mute, and it looks like you're sitting in a cloud of smoke right now.
Yeah, I know, because we don't record this early, and now that I realize the sun comes through at a different angle.
Okay. All right. Well, so you just got up and threw up again.
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't think there's a problem?
Now, see, I think it's when we record, because then I'm like sitting here, I'm like, oh shit, I got to say something. I got y'all screaming in my ears, and I'm just like, oh my God, my stomach already hurts. And I was like, I got to go throw up.
Well, we wouldn't scream in your ear if you turn your headphones down, because we're not screaming, we're talking. So maybe your headphones are too high.
Yeah, I'll come down a little bit.
Yeah, there you go. You look bad. Like you look really bad.
I hate the morning records, man. I fucking hate them.
Chuck,
and then we moved it up earlier today. Good God.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not like normal people usually get up early in the morning to start their day. And I mean, you're a business guy, right? You got stuff to do. Maybe no.
Yeah, I usually start at 9 o'clock though.
9 o'clock. Is that what you tell?
I don't have to talk to someone for 45 minutes, so I get there.
Well, if this is Branden, if this is an inconvenience to you, I mean, you can go back to bed. It's fine. I don't want to force you to do anything you don't want.
I'm good. I'm good now. I already threw up.
Okay. All right. Well, it seems like, it's like I came and woke you up in your house and put a microphone in front of you and said, you have to I'm telling you, you have to you don't have to do it. Like, if you can't make it, you can't make it, and catch up next time. It's all good, man. No pressure. I don't want to see you vomit everywhere, and I want you to participate. People obviously want to hear you and like you, but you're flossing your teeth right now, and like this is the episode that everybody watches on the YouTube channel and stuff, and you're throwing up and you're flossing, and I just don't know how appealing that is to an audience. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, flossing, it just shows I got good hygiene.
Yeah, but the throwing up thing kind of offsets it a little bit.
And we're back to even.
Even would be the word. Yes, even would be the word. All right. So yesterday's show, something happened, I guess in real time, where I was getting a lot of text messages and I just assumed what it was. Shocker, my assumption was right. And so it was from my new insurance company, which they're fantastic. I've, had to, since moving to Florida, had to get rid of my old insurance company. And my buddy is the president of FBC Insurance, which will be a new sponsor here for the show here in the next couple of weeks. And they're phenomenal. They take care of people in Florida, they take care of people in Georgia and all over the country and whatnot. So I got car insurance for me, my wife, and my daughter. Thank God, right? Everything, thank God, this is all legit. My daughter is in Georgia still. She's up there visiting her friends in Atlanta. And she was leaving a residential community. So just to kind of paint the picture, no fast driving, she's not, my daughter's not one of those, but, she's coming out of the community. You're doing like 10, 15 miles per hour, whatever. Gets to, I guess, a stop sign. I don't know what it was. And the car in front of her kind of stopped abruptly. It was one of those situations that probably a lot of you listening maybe have been in. And it's like, whose fault is it? I think they always blame the person behind, whoever hits. I think that's the rule of thumb or whatnot. So am I right? Is that what the rule of thumb is? It's always
Yeah, because you should have enough car's length to stop, even
be
if they
paying
stop
attention.
abruptly. Yeah,
right.
You got to pay attention.
So her excuse was, and I believe her. I mean, Beez is a good kid, right? So I believe her when she says that she didn't think they stopped, or she didn't think they were going to stop, or whatever the case may be. There's always an odd scenario, and I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt.
she was probably smoking the endo.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she was probably tying off a vein, and that's why she wasn't. She dropped her spoon, right?
Can't find it.
Beez, why did you really get in this accident? Yeah, I'm gonna come clean. I gotta be honest with you. I was tying off a vein to shoot heroin. It abruptly stopped. And I gotta tell you, I don't know if you've ever driven with one arm tied by a belt, but it's difficult.
Well, at least the truth came out. Okay, so we know the truth now.
So these people in front of her, they stop and she taps them like it's a tap. This is her first accident, so she's kind of tripping out over it a little bit. Thank God she's not too far from her friend Kinsey's house, and her mom, who's wonderful woman, Trisha. She calls her and Trisha comes out, and the people get out of the car. They're in their late 20s, and there's a guy and a girl, and the girl was making a bigger deal out of it than really what it needed to be. It was, how do I explain this? How it was explained to me. It was it was your typical Atlantean overreaction type of person. Okay, follow me here. And so Trisha comes out, they observe there's no damage, like none at all, zero. I mean, literally it was a tap, but you just never know. So Beez calls Rach, calls her mother. Nobody fucking calls me, which pisses me off, still pisses me off. And I find out afterwards, story of my life. I always find out afterwards. And so the cops were called, the cop comes out and he kind of chalks this up as like, this is kind of ridiculous. He really, I know you're supposed to call for an accident, but I think he said you didn't really need to call me. So he does a police report. He puts on there, no damage, no one was injured, and they go on their way. I find out about this afterwards, and I'm asking all the questions that should have been asked during the situation. I said, did you get their insurance? Did you get their information? No. Did they get yours? No. It's all in the police report. Still should have gotten theirs. I said, did you take pictures of the cars at the moment? No. Did they take pictures? Yes. Great. Did you have your dash cam up? Remember the old dash cam conversation? She says, no. Great. I bought it for like 2 years ago and she's never put it in. I'm like, I even think I put it in one time. Then she took it. I don't know what the deal is. Neither one of these women have the dash cams up there. And what does Jason say? There's going to be a time when you're going to need it. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but there will be a fucking time where you're going to need the fucking dash cam. And who's going to suffer? Me. I'm going to suffer. So anyway, I'm pissed because no one called me. None of these things were done. The dash cam wasn't there. And I wouldn't have been pissed if it wasn't explained to me what type of people these people came across as and how they reacted. They overreacted to a non-reactionary situation. I knew what was coming. So yesterday when we were doing the show, I get the text message. I couldn't answer. I just knew it. I felt it. So I talked to him after we were done, and it was everything that I thought it was. You want to take a guess? It's not a difficult one. You want to take a guess what the end result's going to be?
The female's injured?
Absolutely.
What kind of car were they driving?
I don't know.
Was it a Dodge Charger?
Yeah, it was like Charger. I don't know. It was, yeah.
So how did you already find out they're injured?
Oh, she's already put in a claim.
For the injury?
Yeah, she's already put in a claim.
Neck injury?
It didn't say. So here's the kicker. So for you scammers and hustlers out there, this is such an easy payday, right? Because I don't have to pay them. The insurance company has to pay them. All you have to do is, if you get into any type of accident, is file a claim with the other insurance company, all right? Maybe even possibly yours. I don't know if you can double dip or not, probably, and say that you're injured. They can't question that, I've been told. They can't say, no, you haven't been injured. They can't look at the police report and it says there was no damage. Everyone walked away. No one was injured at the time. No ambulance wasn't called. None of that stuff happened. The cop was like laughing, going, this is ridiculous. Why did you bother me? The insurance company can't come to a conclusion based off of that. So if somebody files a claim like these assholes are doing to us, there's no refuting that. Like, I can't take them to court. I can't fight them on it. Maybe it's like the HIPAA world where it's like, don't question my injuries.
But are your rates going to go up because of this?
I asked her that and she said no. So I was like, all right, cool. I was like, well, how's it going to affect me? And she goes, it doesn't affect you at all. I said, my rates don't go up. Nothing goes up. She goes, no. She's like, we just have to pay them. I was like, you're just going to give them money? And she goes, yeah, we've got no choice. She goes, the only thing that we kind of can control. And she starts laughing. She goes, look, she said a couple things off the record, which I don't remember which ones they were, but she was like, off the record. She says, this happens all the time. So for people that work in the insurance business, like especially, the car insurance stuff, your stories must be outstanding. Like, that must be one of the most painful jobs to do, to just listen to lie after lie, knowing that probably 9 out of 10 people that are filing a claim are full of shit. I mean, that would be infuriating to me, especially if you're a good person and you're doing that job to make ends meet and put food on the table for your family, and you've lived a good life doing good things, and you have these assholes that are skirting the system that refuse to work for their food and instead are trying to get it for free. That pisses me off beyond belief. So I said, so what's next? She goes, well, nothing. I said, well, let me send you pictures of her car. So I sent pictures of Beez's car. There's like no damage at all. Like, is it actually impossible to get, there goes Branden again, throw up. It's impossible for them to be injured. And so she said the only thing that they can control is they will have to have proof of injury. And I said, oh, okay. Well, doctor's going to look at her and say no. She goes, it's so easy to get around that. Doctors don't care. You go into like these doc in a box and they'll say, okay, if it hurts, I don't see anything, but if it hurts, I can't dispute it. I'm going to prescribe you ibuprofen and I'm going to suggest physical therapy. Right. So you go to, one of those physical therapists, which is like $100 a session. and you pop some ibuprofen. You're showing that you're rehabilitating whatever fucking fake injury it is you hack, and then you get paid out. And I think like usually they throw out like 10K. It's a quick $10,000.
That's nice.
I mean, the point of this story is that they should have called you. It drives me. So my wife last year, she was sitting in Kroger parking lot in my truck, and a dude in a big jacked up truck backed into my truck. My wife's sitting in the car at this time. I'm inside Kroger, right? Dude backs into my truck, busts out my grill in my truck. Like it's a serious, like it's not like a dink. It's like a big accident. So I come out after, 20 minutes, get in the truck. My wife does not say a word to me. We get home and she's like, I came around. Oh, I got out and I was walking around the front of my truck and I'm like, what the heck happened to my truck? And my wife's like, oh, some guy backed into you at Kroger. But we talked and he said that, I gave him our information and he's going to reach out. And I'm like,
He's gonna reach out.
are you freaking kidding me right now? So I'm sitting here and I'm like, Megan, you talked to him? And she's like, oh yeah, he backed in. He was the nicest man. And he backed in. He felt so bad. And then he asked for our info. So I gave him your number and yeah, everything's going to work. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me when I walked out to the truck? And she's like, I totally forgot. I'm like, how long was this? It was like, I was in there for 20 minutes. So I called the insurance company and I'm like, hey, like, do I need to get a police report? And they're like, well, where did it happen? I said, Kroger. And she's like, where are you now? I was like, I'm at home. And she's like, why would you go home? And I'm like, that's a good question for my wife. Like, let's ask my wife. So I get Megan on the phone and she's like, I didn't know. Dude, insurance would not pay. The police would not do a report because I am literally the only victim of a hit and run that was the one that ran. Like in my life, like I am the runner of the hit and run and I'm the victim. Anyway, but she didn't tell me. So after that, we had a long talk. Like, look, man, you've got to just say, hey, like she's hit cars. She hit a parking structure in Jekyll Island in Georgia. And she didn't tell me until like a week later. She's like, oh yeah, I hit this. And I'm like, it's the craziest thing in the world, man. Women for some reason, they just don't think it's important to let us know these things.
Did the guy reach out ever?
No, he never reached out to me. That's why I'm like this. And it was his toe. What is it? The toe ball. Those big ones that stick out like 12 inches. It straight went almost into my freaking radiator, dude. Like it went through my grill. And he didn't have a scratch. She's like, his truck was totally fine. I'm like, yeah, no. Dude, I you know what? You got me all pissed off again. I'm sitting here thinking about it. I'm getting mad right now. Like I can't even talk about it again.
I really
thought the wound had healed. The wound is not healed. I'm still pissed off.
I actually appreciate you telling me that story. It makes like that and other things I got going on right now, that are kind of related. So it's a chick thing. Like women
totally
don't communicate.
Well, and they don't want to make you mad. That's the biggest. Like she treats me like she told her mom because she sideswiped a pole in the van, and like just scratches all the way down it. And they were on vacation with her parents and the kids. I was at work or something, and she straight up was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna tell Chuck. He's gonna get really upset about it." So she didn't tell me until she got home from the vacation. I walk out and dude, there's just all this damage to the van. And I'm like, what happened? And she's like, I didn't want to make you mad.
But that's, you're right. That's a thing, but I think it's not real.
Because it makes you more angry when you find out. Like, dude, we could have handled this. We could have handled this so much easier, but because you didn't tell me, this is time sensitive, dude. Like, you can't just be like, oh, I just want him to have a good day. What's going to happen in a week, dude? Like, I'm going to freaking have to deal with this crap.
Chuck, you might as well not even have insurance. You don't have any.
No, my insurance company loves me. They're like, well, Chuck is victimized all the time. He never claims it. He's like, I'm surprised they took the deer. When I hit a deer, I'm surprised they didn't just be like, well, did the deer, are you sure you want to do this one? I mean, I don't want to make Chuck mad.
All states changing its name to like, fucking, we don't need all the states. We just need Georgia. Chuck wants.
We don't have to pay anything. His wife's awesome. She's the best customer in the world. She's like, well, I don't want to upset the insurance company. So let's just not say anything.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. It's almost like you're in my house the past couple of weeks with what you just, that's exactly what I've been saying. It's, don't tell me how I'm going to react.
I like how you're getting quiet right now. Dude, you just, it's like you're in my house right now. She might be listening, but it's like, tell me I'm okay with it.
I know she's watching these shows, so I mean, not that she can't like listen to it on Spotify or watch it on YouTube. Anyway, it makes me feel safe every time. When it's released, I have a better chance of dodging and running. But as I'm doing it, just let me finish my thought, okay? um, so you're right. They tell you how you're going to feel. I know. Just bear with me. They tell us how we're going to feel when you don't know that, and I don't know that, and then they don't realize that what makes us mad. Oh, she was coming. She's at the door. She's at the door. At the door. Okay. What makes us mad is I lost my train of thought. Oh, finding out afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
What makes us mad. But then when we get mad afterwards, they use that as the template of how we'd react if we would have found out during.
Yep.
And so we're in a pickle, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're in this pickle. And and there's no way out of it because we're guys and we're bulls in china shops and we get angry. But they like when we get angry. It turns them on when we're not angry with them. It's like, oh, don't let me get my husband involved. Well,
yeah.
I never get involved because you never fucking tell me,
Yeah, yeah. She told the guy that hit my truck, my husband's going to be so pissed. Well, how am I going to be so pissed when you never tell me that it happened? Like, my husband's going to be so pissed, but don't worry, I'm not going to tell him.
My husband's going to be pissed. Wait till I tell him in 3 weeks if I remember.
Exactly.
Oh my God, dude. I'm so happy that we had this conversation. Like, you just made my day.
It's just something you got to deal with, man. Branden, if you ever get married, if you ever date a woman seriously and you think about that you want to move on in this adventure, set it up. Set up something where she would have to tell you because you're the man in the relationship. And if she doesn't, she's the one.
And here's the other kicker to that, right? And maybe I'm wrong, but I'm like this. So tell me if you're like this, is that we would love to do the same thing back to show them and give them a receipt, but I can't do it.
No way.
Right.
No.
Okay. So
you'll die. They will kill you. They're way more violent than we are. They just don't show it.
But it's not so much that it's the point where I want to tell, I've got, other than this, but I want to share those things and I want to,
especially the bad things, like the stressful things. You want to be like, yo, can you believe this? Our house is falling apart. Can you believe that somebody could die in our backyard? Can you believe there's a dog buried back here? Can you believe we just got ashes for a birthday? You want to share those things, but the wife is like, well, you were already stressed out. I just didn't want to tell you any of the bad stuff. And it's like, what the?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
That's nuts, dude. That's crazy. That's so funny you said that. Oh my God. So Branden, you're not like, until you settle down a little bit, you're probably not going to experience this. But like, look, I've been raped 13 years. This is the first time I've had a conversation with another dude that, like, realizing that it's a thing. I just thought it was a me thing, but I was like, I start second guessing myself. I'm like, oh, maybe she's right.
maybe it's normal for a woman to never tell you anything.
Yeah. I was like, well, maybe I do. I guess I do overreact. Maybe, like I started second, Dr. David Markwell, hey, Ridgeline counselor, is it me? Now, no way. Fucking call Chuck Lunsford because he does the same shit at his house. So I'm in the clear on that one. All right. So end result of the insurance thing, don't know yet, but they filed a claim quickly, like within 48 hours, which is crazy, right? And I believe it was even over the weekend. So got to go to the doctor. Take me to the doctor, DeAndre. So they got their thing, and they're going to get their money, and there's nothing anybody can do. So the only thing that I can think of is I'm assuming that their information is on the police report, and or I can find it somehow. So I think it would.
Why do you want to find their information?
I think they would be a good guest to come on the show and explain.
Oh, no. There's no way they're gonna do that. They're gonna take their 10 grand, man. They're gone.
Chuck, you're new to this game. Branden, would you like to explain to him how we could get them on this show?
We lie to them.
And who's going to book them for the show, Branden?
Me.
Boy. Attaboy. That's why I love you.
Hit him up on Instagram and be like, yo, you want to come on our podcast? I really like your car.
You look like you had an accident. Yeah, Branden, he can make something up. I mean, there's no rules to this. I mean, I'd do it even if it was on the radio. They have to get a receipt. I am a big fan, everybody knows, of holding people accountable for their actions. I still have a list of people to get to. I will get to you. Don't think that I've forgotten just because it's time. Your day is coming. I promise. I got things already in the works to give receipts to certain people. It's a window thing. But with this, I'm going to find their information, and Branden, you can go ahead and book them because it's not a lawsuit. There's no legal action. I got nothing to do with it other than my insurance company. I think the people should know how, if anything, I think we should be empathetic to these people. And like, you're so injured. I'd like to see how injured you are. Maybe we start a GoFundMe for them. That's what we do. Branden, you want to start a website instead of GoFundMe? Fuck you.
Yeah.
And for everybody that's lies, that tries to skirt the system, we'll put their name and information on there, and people can donate to something to go fuck them. It's funny. Dude, can you sign up on my Go Fuck You page? That's funny. That's really funny, actually. All right. See a couple things here. The video has been posted. Some of you are trying to figure out what it means. I think some of you have figured out what it means. One in particular, Chris, I think you figured it out, and you're a good sport, and you didn't say anything about it. I appreciate that. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm going to bombard you for the next week of just reposting the video. There is a short reel video that I've posted with a bunch of letters. You can try to figure it out. Chuck and I have a side bet. I believe in you two peers. I think that you'll figure it out, not easily. Some of you might figure it out easily, but I definitely think that most of you, or at least some of you, will figure it out. Chuck thinks you're a bunch of dumbasses. He doesn't think you have a shot at all of figuring
I don't. Because the first one you sent me when we were talking about it, you said, hey, this is what I'm going to do, blah, blah, and you sent me one. And I was like, okay, well, I was at the ballpark. So I showed it to Megan, and I think I showed it to my kids. I showed it to a few different people that were there, some parents. And I was like, what do you make of this? And immediately one of them.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
No, I'm not. One of them got a word. And I was like, okay, that was easier than I thought. So there was like one word that I was like, okay, we got it. Well, then you totally changed it up after that one. And I was like, this is not even doable. Like the way you did it, I was like, it's not even doable. So no, I don't think, if you do have anybody that gets it, they have like one of those stupid IQs. I don't even know what a high IQ is. What is it, like 980 or something like that? Or is that your credit score? I don't know. There's like one of them's like really, really high. I don't know which one it is. But that's where you might get like the freaking, Goodwill Hunting, guy. So if you get somebody that gets it, that's it. You're going to have a one-off, but you're not going to have like 20 or 32 peers coming up with this. No, it's not impossible.
Branden, do you think that we have a shot? You've seen the video, yes?
Yeah. You texted. Oh, is that what you texted in the group chat the other day?
Mhm.
I thought you had sent like a damn Zoom link. I'm like, what is this guy doing?
You thought it was the Bitcoin
Bitcoin
wallet.
Yeah, well, that's what it looks like. I ain't deciphering all that bullshit.
So you didn't even bother looking at it and trying to figure it out?
Well, I just now put two and two together. That was a string of letters that you had sent me. So maybe I'll try and do it later.
I think stuff like that's fun. You're talking about a savant, and a 980 credit score would be ridiculous.
Well, do you know tonight what is a high IQ?
I think it's like 120.
No, it's not. A high
Definitely not in
IQ
the
is
900s.
Yeah, it's not in the 900s. It's like
what
120. You know, fucking
120. 120 is like you're a moron. I think
Einstein
I
IQ.
wanna
He had
I want to say
160.
the
160.
highest IQ is 160.
Well, that was Einstein's. I don't know who the highest is, but he's pretty high up there, I'd say.
Then what am I thinking of with 900? Is like an SAT score?
Yeah, this tells us your IQ is probably about a 60.
No. What is
I'm
how
a
many
900.
What
Credit's a 40.
what can you score on an SAT?
Hold on, Chuck. Brandon's right. You just asked the question. What does this tell us? This tells us you're stupid. Because a high credit score, like I have an 810 credit score. That is high. That is very high. But I think like the highest credit score most people could get is maybe like an 840. A SAT is a perfect score is 1600.
Okay, so that's what I was thinking of. I'm thinking of the SAT score. I think if you score over like nine something, you're pretty smart, right?
Not anymore. I mean, it all depends. I mean, some of these schools want a big, thank God I grew up in a generation and I played a sport where I just had to get up 700.
I was going to ask you, what was your SAT score?
I took it twice. And again, when I took the SAT, I'm not a good test guy,
Yo, you're one of those.
I'm one of those.
I'm not a good test taker. I'm really smart, but I'm just not good at testing. I'm like, no, you're dumb. That's
No, I just don't have the attention span for testing. So anyway, I didn't have much pressure for the SAT. Like I didn't study or anything because I was going to play football. And so they were like, just have a 2.0 and a 700 SAT.
Yeah, don't you get like 500 points just for putting your name on the piece of paper?
You do.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, easy points, right? That's like getting an extra punch in your card at like a snow cone place or something. So I went out the night before and drank a lot. And I went in to take the SAT the first time, and I passed out in the middle. Like I slept. I was so hungover. Like I didn't sleep the night before. I just went into the testing that day. And thank God my buddy was in there and he woke me up. And so I don't even know if I finished the whole thing. Anyway, I got my score back and I was excited. I was over 700. I got a 710. And I was like, I'm going to college. This is great. I'm going to go play football. I got a 710. And so, you know what? I thought about it, kicked it around. I'm like, Jason, you're better than this and you're smarter than this. Let's actually stay home one night, on a Friday. Let's stay home.
One night.
We're gonna give up a Friday night, and we're going to study, and we're going to do some worksheets, and we're going to get up fresh. We're going to have a nice breakfast, and we're going to go take the test, and we're going to knock it out of the park. So I did that. I stayed home on a Friday night. I studied the SAT. I did the worksheets. Got dressed the next morning, looked good, had a nice breakfast, went into the testing, and I was ready to rock and roll with my number 2 pencil. And I got my results back, and I got to tell you, hard work pays off. Over a 710.
What was it? 712?
15?
760. No.
Oh my God.
No, 810. I'm sorry. It was an 810. I got an 810.
That's weird. So those 3 hours of extra studying didn't do like magic? Like you didn't get like another 500 out of that?
I just lost interest. I was so, and here was the problem, right? Which it came back to bite me in the ass 2 years ago. 2 years later. So 2 years later, I hated the school I was at. I hated the environment. I was done with football. It was like, I just want to move on with my life and go to the next chapter. I was still with my high school sweetheart. And so I was like, let's start our life together. Let's finish school together. I'm going to come down to FAU, Florida Atlantic University in South Florida. And we'll do that. So we agreed on that. And so I quit football. Right. And in order to get into that school, because I hadn't yet done a full 2 years, so you get your AA and you can really transfer anywhere. They wanted me to get a higher score on my SAT or a 19 or above on the ACT, which I never took.
What? That's easy as hell to get on the ACT.
Okay. So that's what I thought too. I was like, all right, well, shit, I'll go, take the ACT. I don't even know what it is. I thought it was mouthwash, so I was like, all right, so I'll go take the ACT. So I go and I take the ACT, and I did. I got over a 19. I don't remember what I got, but I got it. So I was very, very excited. And I was like, all right, I'm in. I'm coming. Here I come, blah, blah, blah. Like literally a week after I quit football, I do the testing and all that stuff. She breaks up with me. I find out she cheats on me with a male cheerleader. And so I was like, oh, shit. So all that was pointless. But anyway, the point of the story is that 2 years later, it came back to bite me in the ass to have a low score. But now I don't think with the kids, I don't remember my daughter or my son never really went off he's back in school now, I think, but I don't remember them talking about how big of a deal, like the SAT wasn't a deal breaker for school. I could be wrong. I don't know, but they didn't make a big deal about it. Like, I don't even know what my daughter got on her SAT. I think
I just know that all the kids I know that are like 16, 17-year-olds, whenever they do really poorly on it, they're the ones that always put like in the graduation announcement, it says like graduating to the workforce, like instead of their university. And I always laugh and I'm like, they got really bad score on the SAT.
They're over
like
there taking off. Be like, take your robe off, put on that janitor outfit. And
exactly. Well, what are you doing after graduate? I'm joining the workforce. And they're all proud of it. And you're like, dude, because you're dumb. Like that. I mean, there's other options, like join the military, find a trade, but they just go straight into like, hey, I'm getting that extra shift at McDonald's. It's like, okay, well, congratulations.
I never took the SAT. I only took the ACT. For some reason, there was an option, but it weighed a little better for me to do the ACT instead of SAT. I think the ACT is shorter.
Did it help you in life?
Yeah, I mean, I got a 30 on it.
No, but I mean, did you use that score to do something?
Oh, hell no. I mean, I went to school for a little bit.
Are you sure you took the ACT and you didn't go to a class called air conditioning training?
Yeah, I failed because I set it to 30 degrees.
Yeah, I regret now. That's one thing that I wish I had better parental guidance when I was younger, and maybe it's me and I just didn't listen, but my mother was never a big stickler with the future or regrets and mistakes and this and this and that. And I was so headstrong and I thought I had it all figured out. And, I was just a brat. I guess that's where the father figure comes in, which I never had. So I have so many regrets about education and the moves that I would have made. I would have never gotten into radio. Now, granted, I had a great time and I love the business. I love the industry and I still do. I'm not out of radio. I mean, there's going to be an association with radio probably throughout the rest of my life. There's no doubt about it, and I love doing this obviously, but if I could go back, I would have. And if it were ingrained in my head, like a lot of my friends, like I watched, guys whose fathers were doctors that said, you're going to be a doctor. I'm like, at that, I don't want to go to school for 8 more years. It's stupid. That was the mindset. And they're like, what? I'm going to go to school for 8 more years. I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to be more educated. I'm going to become a doctor. And then for the rest of my life, I'll never have to worry about being fired or, all these other different things.
What'd you want to be when you grew up? What was, if you could do it all over again and this never happened, where would we see Jason Bailey in an alternate universe?
Well, when I was in 7th grade, I wanted to be a professional basketball player.
Yeah, after White Men Can't Jump came out, you were like, I could totally do that.
But it's funny because it was one of those days. I remember the day that, it was like, hey, write what you want to be when you grow up. And write an essay or something like that. And I wrote it. And the teacher, the teacher comes by and starts reading it and looks at me and goes, you should really have options. So for real, if I could go back, it would probably be one of 2 things. I would go to school for law and become a lawyer. I think I would be a very good lawyer. I'm a good researcher. I'm a good debater. I'm a good arguer. I'm a good read for the most part. So, and I like that kind of, and it's competitive. So every day is a competition. So I like that. That's right up my alley. And, when I was a kid, that's what people told me. It's like, you need to be a lawyer. You need to be a lawyer. You need to be a lawyer. And I just didn't do it. So either that or I would have taken business classes and mastered how to run a business and start a business, instead of trying to figure it out on my own. I mean, I had a failed business, in the early 2000s in Tampa, for numerous reasons, but that didn't work out. And we're getting ready to launch a new business here soon. And, hopefully that won't fail. I don't think it will, but I just wish I knew the tricks of the trade. You see these people, they're like extremely successful, multimillionaires, billionaires or whatever. And in college or right out of college, they started a business and they focused on that business. While I was in college, I focused on radio, but radio, especially during those times, which I was lucky to be brought into radio on the tail end of the heydays, right? In the 90s, it was a party. That's all we did is we partied. I mean, we did club gigs during the week. I would come into the morning show that I started on drunk, and it was cool. And, and then you would exploit it, right? They would put me on the air and have me tell my adventures and the girl that I was hanging out with and all this kind of stuff. That was part of the bit, right? That's the job. But that is a shelf life, right? You get older, you meet somebody, it becomes real. The business changes, and you blink, and the next thing you know, you're 49 years old, right? And everything is changed and different. And, like people in radio now, I was having this conversation with a guy who's extremely successful. He's been doing it just as long, if not longer than I have, makes good money, but because of his style and where he's at, and he's like, people have been telling me for 30 years, it's going to end. It's going to this and this and this and that. And I'm like, I know people were telling me that too, but I think this one's real. It's like The Boy That Cried Wolf. Like, this one's real. Like, just look around you and look at what's happening. So I would have probably picked something safer. There was a buddy of mine, this guy, Jason Grande, great guy. And I remember one day, our senior year, he was at my house and his mother was over. Like his mom and my mom were friends. We lived in the same community neighborhood. And we were talking about our next moves, like the moms were talking and we were there and stuff like that. And he played football and he was a decent football player. He wasn't overly big or anything. I mean, he was a jacked dude, but it was an okay for high school, right? Just like me, I was okay for high school. And so, but I wanted to play in college. I don't think because I so much loved the sport, unfortunately, I did it because of ego. And I did it to show other people, like, look, I can go and play college football. And later down the road, I can say I play college football, not realizing that no one gives a shit, one. They definitely don't give a shit, two, because you played Division II football. It's not like I went and played at, Alabama or Georgia or Florida or something like that. So I remember this conversation. His parents or his dad was a very successful real estate agent. This is early 90s, right? And so he goes, I was like, what are you doing? Are you going to school or something like that? And he's like, no, I'm not going to college. And I was like, that was like taboo to hear. Why would you not go to college? And it's like, your parents can afford it. This is going to be the best days of our lives. He's like, no, I'm going to learn real estate. I'm going to get into real estate. And I'm like, what? We work out. We play football. We drink beers on Fridays. Like, we hang out with chicks. We go mudding. Like, we do cool shit. Like, you're giving it all up. We still got time to do more of this stuff. Like, I didn't want to get out of that world. And he was ready to get out of that world, like out of the gates. Smart man. Now he's retired. I just see him posting pictures of him catching big fish on his large boat. You know what I mean? So it's a give and take thing. I'm a big fan of college. Everybody knows that. Not so much for the textbook side of things. I think it's great to get a diploma and achieve that. There's no doubt about that. But it's what you learn outside of those lines. I always call it responsibility purgatory. If you're able to utilize those 4 years to not only get a degree into what you possibly will be doing in life, but also build on that behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And I think that the generation now that's in college, really good at doing that, especially with social media, launching businesses, finding ways to make money, whether they're influencers or inventors or business owners. This generation now, and even Branden's generation, that are probably finishing up school or whatnot, they were great at that. Gen X is not so much. We didn't have social media for the most part, so it doesn't matter that way. but there weren't a lot of, you hear a couple success stories. Like there's a guy that when I was at UCF, he opened up this like Mexican type of restaurant. Now he's got them all over. And he was at UCF. He was in school when he did it, I believe.
Is it called Chili's?
No. I think it's Tijuana Flats. You know,
I don't know, and maybe Branden has a different view on this, but just knowing you for as long as I've known you, you said lawyer or something in business. I see you selling like Subarus. Like that's kind of where I see you, like in life. If I just met you on the street, I would think you were like a car dealer or a car salesman.
Interesting. You know, when I look at you, I see a giant donkey raping your ass. What are you talking about?
What? Because that's your kind. You got that.
He's trying to call you a
persona.
lesbian.
No, I'm not saying he's a lesbian. I'm saying he sells cars to lesbians, which is totally different. Because, that's just, but I'm saying that's Branden. If you didn't know him, what would you say he's a lawyer? What would you say he does?
I'd say he's probably like a football coach. Maybe not the head coach, just like an assistant coach, like a Lane Kiffin. He's just waiting for his breakout moment to go. Go start at Ole Miss and start off, 4-10, and then next year you're 8-8.
No, I'm not at all. I'm at Ole Miss Community College. Football coach. I can see football coach. I could do that. But I've been jaded. Like I wouldn't be the person I am today if I wouldn't have gotten into radio. So if I would have never got into the business, I would not be this. I probably would have been able to be programmed to be more corporate and play by the rules and all that kind of, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I've always kind of been like this, but I can't. Like now, there's no way I'd be able to get a 9-to-5 job, and that's it's kind of an interesting pill to swallow. I don't want to say tough, but interesting, so people are like, you're back in Orlando. What are you going to do? There's a lot of people think that I've already got a radio job lined up or, I'm here for a gig or I'm trying to get a gig or something like that. And I'm not. They're like, you just moved back to Orlando without a plan? I'm like, no, you know me better than that. I've got a plan. And they're like, well, what's the plan? And I was like, well, I don't want to go into the whole plan, but, the main part of it is I'm just, I'm going to have my podcast based out of, I'm going to be in Orlando, but my guys are in Georgia, and we've got things that we're going to work together and, all these kinds of things. They're like, so you moved to Orlando, you moved back to Orlando to do a podcast? And I'm like, well, no, I didn't move back. I can do this anywhere, but I like Orlando. I've missed Orlando. I've got a lot of friends here in Orlando. I've got a lot of connections in Orlando. And other than that, I just want to be by the beach. I want to be by my mother. We want to be by my wife's family. We've got family here, all those types of things. This is my safe space. And so people don't understand why I moved back here. They're like, well, are you going to get a regular job? I'm like, I know what you mean by that, but no, I can't get a regular job. Like, what do you mean you can't get a regular job? There's no job that's going to hire me for the money that I'm worth to do something they don't think I can do, even though I'm telling them I can do it 10 times over, nor do I want to go to a 9-to-5 job and take orders from some asshole in a corner office.
Well, and this is the only job you can have that doesn't have HR.
Right. That too, so like, what do you do? All right. Well,
You flip houses. You be a home builder and then have Rachel sell them.
No, I wouldn't do. People will be surprised, I think, in the next 6 months or a year when I talk about everything that I'm doing, especially with this podcast. Like, I don't know why people can't accept that this is a job. It's
new, man. It's new. People remember like when it's like all those things, like when Bitcoin came out, like, oh my God, that's never going to take off. Like that's totally fake. I think with what you're doing and what we're doing, it's just something that people are like, well, that's a leap of faith. You don't have, somebody, these huge companies that are backing you. You're doing this on your own. How are you doing it? All these social media influencers, it's unbelievable how much money they make. I mean, I read a story out. You guys ever heard about what's the lady's name that was married to Shooter Jennings? Something Dre Mateo or oh my gosh, she was on a bunch of shows. She's really, really hot. You guys know who I'm talking about?
Matco?
No, Day Mateo is her last name.
Oh,
She's on OnlyFans now.
she's the girl selling farts in a jar.
No, she's like 51 years old, and she's an actress. She's been in a lot of things. I think she's in The Sopranos and a couple other things. But Sons of Anarchy. But anyway, they were like losing. They didn't have any money left. She had no money left from her career, and her kids were like, "Hey, mom, you should go sell pictures of your feet on OnlyFans." And she was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." And then she said she started looking into it, and she's like, "Oh my God, there's a lot of money made here." So she started an OnlyFans page. She doesn't do any type of like nudity. I think she does like bathing suits, lingerie, but she's pulling in like 200 grand since she's done it. It started like a month ago. And it's like, who would have thought, man? Like, I'm thinking seriously, I'm considering it. Like, Branden, you should too. Take some pictures of your feet, whatever, put it out there. There's people that are into it. You can make a lot of money off of it. And people are laughing at you going, "Oh, that's stupid. Nobody's going to look at that, Branden." There are some freaks out there, dude. And they got money. Like, if you want to do an OnlyFans page, I will support you.
Well, we've learned that a great way to make money is to tap somebody's car and call the insurance company.
And people probably laughed at that guy. And he's like, all I do is drive around Roswell waiting for people that are trying to shoot up driving. And then they bump me and I get paid.
I'll tell you, like, where I'm at now and having to explain people, because look, I'm seeing people now that I'm back in Orlando. I've been back in Orlando for just about a month now. And I'm running into people that I remember, or I know, or that they're like the face is recognizable. People still recognize me. I didn't realize how big of a brand I had and still have in Orlando. People still remember. I mean, they call me Buckethead, which is fine, but I didn't realize, I guess, that. I don't know. So I'll go and I'll talk to people and, "Oh, yeah, bye," either from, because I was on 3 different radio stations here. Again, it took me to go to Atlanta and then to California and all these, over the past 10, 12, 13 years to really understand how the business works and to understand how branding yourself works and the importance of branding and the connection you have with an audience. And I wish that I would have handled my departure from Orlando a lot differently than I did. I wish I would have handled my departure from Orlando the same way I handled my departure from Atlanta, because the Atlanta fans are with me through thick and thin. And that is awesome. And there's still people in Orlando that do that too. But arguably my audience in Orlando before Atlanta was a lot bigger, just because I had been here for so long and I was on 3 different radio stations, you know what I mean? And even, Tampa as well. I was there for a couple of years and made some fans, Sacramento, blah, blah, all that's good stuff. But now, I look at all this and I go, this is the next chapter of my life. And what do I do? And I'm doing it. And it's the challenge. I was telling Rach this the other day, because I'm signing on a couple new sponsors of the show. I'm not going to buy a Lamborghini because of it. It's making things work, and it's forward progress. The problem that I have with radio, and which I had this past year times a million, but every day there wasn't forward progress. Every day was almost 2 steps back. Radio used to be a forward progress business because it's supposed to be a creative business, an artistic business. But now it's run by a bunch of terrified egomaniacs they're fucked up in the head. They've got all these personal issues that take them out on the radio station and all these things. So there's no collaboration. There's no creative. They can, the executives and the people that run, they can scream all they want that there's not. And they sure the fuck don't want to hear it from a guy like me, which is arguably one of the most creative people in the business. And definitely the last place that I was at, there is not one soul in that building that was more creative than I was. Guarantee it, including the guy that used to run promotions for a large company. I mean, I don't know how that works. Learning what I learned about that guy. They don't want to do that. They want to do easy. They want to do client idea, money, you do. Well, that's not good for the audience. You don't know what the audience wants. What are you talking about? That's my job. No, the numbers say it's going to work. What numbers? We put it in a computer. Okay. Well, I don't dispute all those numbers, but you have to go off of what the person who does this for a living and has been successful doing. They don't want to hear that. So when I have a small bit of success in this world, it means 10 times more than anything that I've experienced in the last couple of years in the radio business, unfortunately. And that makes me sad. It makes me really, really sad. You know what I mean? And I was telling Rachel, I was like, yeah, we're signing on this new client, blah, 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 they're coming on and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, that's great. And I was like, yeah, it's good. It's good. I was like, I don't know why I get so excited about signing on a new sponsor. Again, it's not a lot of money, but it's a new sponsor. And I feel like I've accomplished something. I could make in radio and endorsements that in a week, by doing 1 60-second read. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just, the world has changed. And if I could go back, would I want to be in this situation? Probably not,
Really?
Yeah. I wish that I see my friends that had their act together early and knew the future, and they put the work in, like school or the business, at an early age. I wanted to party up until probably my early 30s, late 20s. And so, but I wanted to work, and I was work driven. I was able to find a job that I could do both. I mean, like back in those days, dude, you name the club, you name the bar, I didn't pay for a drink. I was front of the line. It was VIP. I mean, it was anytime I wanted to go out, like I ran the streets of Orlando. It was awesome. And then I had a job to go along with it, which made me a public figure, which was great. But those days are done. I'm not that guy anymore. So now I'm this guy. And I got to figure out what this guy is. I don't know what the fuck this guy is to me. That's my problem. I got to find out who this guy is, but the things are good. The things are, it was trippy. I'll see faces now that I'm back in Orlando, and I'm like trying to place them. Like, who are you? Where do I know you? And it's always weird, right? When a guy,
when it's a woman you slept with.
No, I wouldn't even touch that. But it's weird when it's a guy, like it's another guy, like guys don't, I do, but it's not normal. Most guys don't walk up to another guy and be like, dude, your face, it just looks so familiar. Where have I seen your face before? How do we know each other? Am I in your phone? It's kind of weird. So I, for the first time after 13 years, old stomping ground, Daytona Beach poker room. My buddy John, he kind of runs the joint now over there. Great poker room. And I go over there to play some cards. And I did pretty well, actually. And so I'm sitting down at the table. I'm at a 2-5 table, and I look to my right. There's a 1-2 table, and I see this guy. And I don't know what his ethnicity is. He's a larger man. Like he's a heavy guy, but it's like he carries it well, like he'll beat your ass heavy, that kind of thing. But his ethnicity is like Samoan, Hispanic, kind of just a very unique look. And I'm looking at him, and have you ever caught eyes with somebody, and you try not to be weird and just focus on them, but your eyes can't help it, and it just
so awkward. Awkward.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you're like try to evade your eyes, like, oh, I wasn't looking at you,
So I'm looking over, I'm like, God, I know him. And you're hoping that he looks over at you and kind of does that 16 candles at the end whisper, like, yeah, you. And so I'm looking at him, he's not, and I see him look over, and then I look away. It was like we're hitting on each other, it was weird. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to go over there and ask him, why not? I was like, I can't do that, because what if he shoots me down? What if he rejects me?
Yeah.
And he's at a poker table, so he's got, 8 other people around him. It's going to be weird, or 9 other people. The deal, it's going to be really weird and awkward and uncomfortable. I was like, I've got to wait for my window. I've got to wait for the right moment. I've got to wait for my window. So I went to go bet on some horses, which I don't think I've ever done. But these guys at the table, it was the Belmont, whatever one of the big horse races was the other day. I don't know anything about horse racing, but this guy had a book. This guy had a book. He had numbers.
Belmont.
Beaumont. Yeah, had a book and he was talking numbers and boxes and all this other stuff. And this other dude that sits down, he's taking advice from this guy. And I'm like, I want to get in on this, because it's a pari-mutuel. So I was like, I can bet. So I was like, all right, well, tell me what to do. And I'm going to go in there and place a bet on this race. And he goes, we'll do a box trifecta of 10, 9, and 5, or 10. He says 10, 9, and 3. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. And he goes, and then bet 9 and 10 to win it all. I was like, okay, I'll do that. I was like, how much do I put down? He goes, you can put down as much as you want, but I put down $3 for each, $5, so altogether it's going to be, $20. And if you win, if you hit, you make a couple $100, maybe a couple thousand, who knows? I'm like, that was cool. All right. So I go in to the room and I fuck it up. So I did kind of what they told me to do, but instead of 10, 9, and 3, I did 10, 9, and 5. And the lady talked me into doing a different type of bet. So it was like place and show. So I had better odds. I'm like, whatever. So I get back and the horse race starts, and 10 and 9, they place, but this horse at 6 wins. Like, it was a long shot. So if you had 10, I was one number off, right? I was one number horse off. I would have made a bunch of money. Like, this guy that's sitting across from me, his buddy had him bet at 10, 9, 6, and he just guessed. He put in $2 and ended up winning like $9.50 off of $2. So I can only imagine what I would have won if I would have hit, right? It would have been crazy. So I don't know. I lost the train of thought on my point of my story. So I was over there and I'm looking at all this. There's another guy at my table, this Jamaican guy that I know. And
wait, what about the fat guy? Did you know him?
Oh, that's right. So I went to go bet on the horse. That was why I was telling you that. I went to go bet on the horse, and as I was coming back, we locked eyes, and I walked over to him, and I said to him, I go, you just look so familiar. And when you say that to somebody like you're hoping their response is, yeah, man, you look really familiar too, right? That's the response you want. He was so cool and calm. He was like, yeah, man, you look, you look familiar. He wasn't excited about it, so I was like, oh, maybe he doesn't know. Like, maybe we don't know each other. And I was like, you live in Orlando? He's like, no, I live in Rockledge. Just very calm and cool. Like, didn't want to talk to me. Oh shit. Maybe I should just walk away. I don't think this relationship is going to work. And then we ended up figuring out how we do know each other. He used to come out to events for the first radio station that I was at XL. He was just a listener. So,
it wasn't from like the men's room or anything.
No, he's like, you're the radio guy, right? I was like, yeah. He goes, you're Buckethead. I was like, yeah. I mean, we're talking, this was like 95 to 2001. So you're looking at a long time. This is a minute. And I'm getting that a lot here, from people that have been in Orlando their whole lives that are around.
It helps your ego, doesn't it?
It has nothing to do with my ego. I don't care about that.
Do they say you look good or do they say you look bad?
Neither. They don't say anything. It's just they're, I'll
They
get
just flirt with you. They just flirt with you and then go on their way.
Yeah, I'll get like what happened to you, or where are you at now, or have you ever seen a Along Came Polly with
great movie,
and Philip Seymour Hoffman, and he was in the movie. He was his big pop as a child actor. He was in a movie that kind of replicates The Breakfast Club kind of thing.
Yep.
He had one scene that stole the show where he's playing the bagpipes, so everybody remembers like, oh my God, Sandy, you were in Crocodile Tears, that bagpipe scene, and everybody and he still is living off of that moment.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then they go, like, the one guy in the kitchen goes, man, I thought you died.
That's a really good pull, man. That is exactly what you're living right there.
I'm living that moment. Like, I'm going to have to hire Kevin Hart and the other dude to follow me around and have a fake True Hollywood story behind.
As long as you're playing basketball that way, I'm in, just to watch you.
Rain clouds.
Rain. Time. I need a breather. I need a tea.
All right, Sasquatch. Hope you brought your A game.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Oh man, I just got used to covering this guy. I know every line of that movie.
That's hilarious. Branden, have you ever seen it? Look at you. Have you ever seen Along Came Polly, Philip Seymour Hoffman's best work?
No, I'm not even 100% sure who Philip C. Hoffman is.
Oh, he's been in a lot of stuff. I mean, he's dead now, but Philip Seymour Hoffman is, you know, I've seen Boogie Nights. I mean,
Have
God,
not.
he's you know, when I told that story about the hippopotamus and the zebra, you didn't get it though when I said that a while back, and that's from Along Came Polly.
Yeah.
Oh
I
no,
mean,
I
but
didn't. I
get it.
didn't get that.
Oh, you're talking Chuck.
Oh, that's the guy that with that sleeps with his wife out on the boat.
The scuba diver, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I totally didn't even get that. Yeah, that's a great one too.
That's
Oh,
the
I've seen him in
I'm sorry,
Moneyball
we
and
do
Twister.
we do the sex.
what's that, Brandon?
I said I know him from Moneyball and Twister.
He was in Moneyball?
Uh,
Apparently so.
yeah, he's in Moneyball. He's the coach of the A's that has a
Oh, that's right. Let me
Big
coach my
Lebowski
team.
too. Hell yeah.
yeah. He was. What else is he in?
The Big Lebowski.
Big Lebowski, yeah. Yeah, he was in Twister. I mean, trying to think of like he did some really like deep dramatic work in a lot of movies too. Like he was able to just do any character. He was really it's really sad what happened. I mean, he overdosed or accidental?
I think he died. Heroin, right?
I don't know if it was heroin. It might have been a prescription drug. I don't think he was a heroin guy, was he?
I think so.
It says drug overdose. And I don't see anything about heroin.
Ruben, it's like a zebra. You know, the zebra, the hippopotamus became a zebra. And so what he do, he paint the stripes, the black stripe and the white stripe, and he goes to the zebra and he goes, I'm a zebra. And the zebra says, you're not a zebra. You can paint the stripes on, but you're still a hippopotamus. You understand what that means, Ruben? You know, the hippo is always going to be a hippo and me a happy hippo, you know? I know I messed up. Sorry, but that's
No, that's great, dude. That was actually really, really good. I'm really impressed right now by that impersonation.
well, the guy that plays him is the voice of the Simpsons stuff, right? It's
Yeah, he's the bartender, Mo.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
yeah, but he does a lot of voices.
Hank Azaria.
Azaria, there you go, Hank Azaria. And I thought he was the same guy in Couples Retreat, but Nate would always correct me and say, "You always screw this up, and that's not right." So they're two different people, but they look exactly the same. You know, they're all like, I never realized how ripped Hank Azaria really is. Like he's jacked to the, you know, but that hippie move, like if we ever had the opportunity to have him on here, we would start with that and end with, like, I would just want him to tell me that story as that character because it's so fucking phenomenal. All right. Look, we hope you appreciate, we appreciate you. We hope you enjoyed this Freebae episode of the BS. Please follow us on all social media. All right. You can get all the information on thebaileyshow.com. If you dig what we do and you want more content just about every day out of the week, right? Because Tuesdays and Thursdays are sub episodes for subscribers. Sometimes we'll throw in a sub extra. Happens a lot. So you get 5 days out of the week. Be a part of it, please, and subscribe and support the cause. You can subscribe on thebaileyshow.com. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out any way possible. I mean, all the information is up there through social media. I know sometimes it can be a little confusing if you've never done it before, but it's as simple as going to thebaileyshow.com. The button's right there on the homepage says subscribe. It'll take you to the Spotify link. You'll subscribe, you're in, and then you go, okay, well, I listen on Spotify, which you have to in order to get the subscription episodes. And you're like, they're still locked. We found out that the secret to that, there's a little bug in the system, I guess, is that you log out and log back in and they're unlocked because then it reads your information. Okay. Also, when you subscribe, there's this little box that you check. Check that box. I forget what it says, but I think it's helpful to make sure the process goes along a little bit more smoothly. But our subscriptions are going up. Thank you for doing that. Thanks for subscribing. Please, be a part of the community that we're trying to build. And we've got a lot of, like I said, cool things that I'm working on. I don't want to talk about them all now because I don't want to jinx them, but I've got a million things going on in my personal life. I've got a million things going on in my business life. And I'm trying to bring them all together at one time. I like challenges, and I'd be lying to you if I said this past year wasn't one of the biggest, if not biggest, challenges of my life, personally and professionally. But I have numerous things that I live by, but one in particular is I don't let anyone control my narrative. I make my decisions, whether good, whether bad. I take responsibility for my actions, and I take responsibility for success and failure, you know? So, but you can control that, you know, for the most part. You can control all of that. And so I'm taking control of this now, and it's like walking 10 dogs, right? You have one dog that's calm, one dog that's crazy, one dog that goes right, one dog that goes left. I'm getting to a point now where I have all the dogs on the leashes and they're walking straight. So if you could bear with me in this journey and help out along the way, I'd appreciate it. We all would appreciate it. So again, thebaileyshow.com, the newsletter signups there. I'm probably going to go to twice a month. I think I was overdosing the newsletters. People were getting a little like, you know, okay, once a week is too much. So I'll do every other week for the newsletters probably. The subscription on the YouTube, that's free, at The Bailey Show. That's pretty cool. This episode, Monday's episode of Honey, I Raised the Kids, the full episode's up there. All our content is up there as far as the little video snaps, tons of stuff. So go up there, like and comment on that, please. And the one thing I'm going to leave you with until I get to the guys is I always ask this of you guys. Follow us on social media. I post every day, you know, for the most part, stuff for the show. And so when you see those little video clips or anything from the show, please share, just one share. A day would be great, but once a week would be, I'll take that. I'll take anything. Just share it with one person in your network openly, you know, and say, hey, look, I listen to these guys. They're great. I love the BS. I love the Bailey Show podcast. You should try it. That's all I'm asking you to do is have somebody try the show and see if they like it. You know, I was telling a friend of mine the other night, actually, I was like, what do you listen to? And he told me, what do you listen to? I was like, you don't listen to my show? You know, like, God, like we're friends. Why do you not listen to my show? And he goes, you know what? He's like, it was just a habit. You know, but now that we've kind of reconnected, he's going to listen. So I made him a bet. I said, look, I'm going to bet you. I'll bet my $100 against your $0 that you'll listen to the show. It'll replace what you listen to in Morning Drive. It'll be better than what you listen to in Morning Drive. And if I'm wrong, and I'll trust you, I'll give you $100. If you're gonna say no, it's just not as good, I'll give you $100. And so I'm still waiting for him to return the answer to that. The bet was just recently made. It was just recently made. All right. Oh, let me ask this before we go. What are we doing with this? We haven't really. What are we doing with this? The Branden song.
Bradley's
In a Cadillac, smoking weed and doing crack. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
I think Brandon's still mad at me.
Yeah, but I say Chuck didn't tell his wife he cheated on her because he fucked me for sure.
That's great. How long have you been holding that one in your holster? That's good.
Since the last time we played the song, I was like, I'm getting with that one, that bastard. Some kind of half-ass produced song.
Writing that down, Branden. I'm proud of you. You held that in. You delivered it at the right moment. You waited for your window. You had no idea that I was going to bring this back up. That makes me cry a little bit. I got to tell you, I teared up a little bit inside. I go, "Ooh, that's my boy right there. That's good." Do you guys want to? Well, since Chuck, you've done this to Branden, I think you should be responsible putting it up on Spotify or wherever how you ever stream music.
Oh, then he's gonna take all the revenue off it too. Yeah, double.
No, we're not. No, we're not. I have an idea. Don't worry, Branden. The guy that needs to help us was in Australia. He's back in the States now. He's in Seattle right now. He'll be back in Georgia here shortly. I've already talked to him. We're gonna take care of you because now that it's been teased, we are going to have an official.
Hold on. Don't say anything. I mean, if you've got some big plan, don't say it now.
No, I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to say. We are going to have an official time and place where we'll get this thing together and we're going to blow the doors off this thing. And you're going to see this product that you just teased is going to be like, what? So don't worry. I'm going to take care of you, man. I mean, you'd never be in this situation. It wasn't for Jason. He's the one that's like, dude, don't worry about Branden. This is what he would want. And then You're angry at me. He knows you better than I do. I was taking like you guys are friends. If anything, he's the one you should be angry at. That's just what I'm saying. Like if you're gonna be mad at anybody, it's Jason. Just redirect it. And if you want me to, I'll be mad at him too for you.
You got
Wow.
it, Megan. Not only did you cheat by fucking Branden, but you also fucked me. God, you're a whore, man. Jesus. Adulterous whore. You
I was
went
in
up
music for about 30 minutes and 2 people done fucked me over.
Whoa, hold on for a second. No. You get up in the morning wanting to lie and be a bad person, Chuck?
I'm not lying. You told me to give you that.
I did not. When you came,
I think I have the text messages.
I'm sure with your Photoshop skills, which are great, I'm sure you knocking them up.
Yeah, my Photoshop skills are top notch.
If anything, I remember you calling me, and I was like, just make sure Brandon's cool with it and clear it.
It's literally what I said to you.
And you was like, and then after that, you're like, oh, hey, quick, I gotta go, but can you do me a favor and text me that Brandon's cool with it? Just I think it would be funny to have that in my phone.
Brandon, he's lying. He's such a liar. You know that. I'm not even gonna argue you. I'm not even gonna argue this because you're just lying. You're a liar.
Damn, this music industry is cutthroat, dude. We got
It is.
the
See, now you
producer
know what
and the
I
manager
deal with.
over here yelling at each other.
Yeah.
Oh, it's his fault. No, it's his fault.
Bradley's in a Cadillac, smoking weed and doing crack. Found a bitch and broke her back. I don't know when he'll be back. I done took too many.
Man, I kind of have an idea what you're going to do, but we got to get this out. We got to look. Here's the thing: is yes, however it's done, Brandon has to profit off of it. You know, so if people, if we're gonna, if you know, if you're gonna put it out, I mean, Brandon, maybe I'm sure you probably can figure it out, but
It's an 80-20 split. That's normal. 80-20.
Wait, who gets the 80?
You.
Oh, okay. I wrote it. I get that.
Yeah, you get the 80.
Oh, cool.
who gets the 20?
Me. What?
I think we're running out of percentage points for Jason.
No, producers always get 20%, man. That's like normal.
Okay, so where's my cut?
You don't get anything. You're just one of the promotions, you know. We just give it to you, but you can use it for your own well-being. So
Yeah, we won't copyright strike
put
you.
it out for advertising. No. So he'll let you use it in your stuff, which is huge.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, this is gonna be a million hit song.
let
Hit
me
a million views.
let me teach both of you a lesson in how to destroy creative. So if I am not a part of this 80-20 split somehow, I'm going to find a way to destroy any credibility to this fucking song.
All right, you know what? We're gonna give you 10%.
All right, I'll take 10%. I'll take something.
So you get 70 now, Brandon.
Oh, what the?
It doesn't come from his 20. And he didn't even do shit. It was Tim. All right, let's get out of here. Chuck, you got anything before we leave?
Yeah, guys, take my advice.
We gotta do one question with Brandon. I totally forgot about that. Why don't you guys remind me about that shit? I totally forgot. We gotta do this for
Why didn't Brandon remind you? It's
I was
Brandon's
getting
thing.
there.
With Branden.
What's the problem not having a real producer, right? I gotta remember everything. Somebody's gotta help me out here. All right, Brandon, what's your question?
All right, so you know, in the recent years, they have said tomato is a fruit. So does that mean ketchup is a smoothie?
No, that's the dumbest one you've ever come up with. And I don't believe the word is fruit. I think it's fruit. There's an R in
Fruit.
it.
No, I mean, think about what a smoothie is. You know, you got fruit and other ingredients, and you blend it together, and it's a smoothie. Now, if ketchup, it's blended up tomatoes, which is a fruit. Is that a smoothie?
No, because you have to add things to make it a smoothie. And smoothie is not just fruit. Smoothie can be vegetables as well.
So you're saying it is?
No, I mean, if you put a tomato in a smoothie, it would then become a smoothie. But a tomato chopped up in a blender is not a smoothie.
Well, that's not what ketchup is, though. Ketchup's got a lot of other shit in there, you know, like fructose and sugar and whatnot.
Yeah,
It's like
but
a tomato smoothie.
you have to define what a smoothie is.
I think it's ingredients in the same kind of category, family, sweetness.
Or wordsmith. No, a smoothie has to like fuck. I don't know.
If you take a bunch of grapes, and you put them into a blender, is that a smoothie or did you make grape juice?
Yeah, but that's one ingredient. Have you
What
looked
is
on
a
ketchup
tomato?
bottle? Have you looked
What
at a
is a
ketchup
tomato?
bottle?
See what he's
This
trying
is
to
the dumbest. I'm
Ketchup.
this is
If you look at a ketchup bottle, they got a lot of ingredients in there. The main one is fruit, though, which is a tomato, and that's the main thing in a smoothie is fruit. For the
So,
most part.
so go to grapes. If you go and you buy grape juice or grape cocktail, it's got other ingredients. So what do you consider other ingredients like sugar and all those types of things? Because a smoothie is going to have what? Ice. It's going to have milk, possibly yogurt, those types of things.
Well, we go to the ice thing. It's got water in it, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Ice and water about the same thing.
Just about. I think that you have to define what a smoothie is, but the problem with doing that is that you can't say it like you can't go, well, smoothies, a milkshake's going to have, well, do you know the difference between a milkshake and a shake?
No.
Milk. So that's actually a trick that places will do. They have chocolate shakes or chocolate milkshakes. So if they just put shake, there's no milk, even though there's milk in the ice cream. But a milkshake, they actually add milk. Learned that a long time ago. So then you go, what's the definition of a smoothie? Well, you would go, what? Ice, yogurt, right? What else would be in a smoothie outside of the fruit and vegetables? Like, what are the nuts and bolts of a smoothie?
granola.
Fruits.
No. Like the liquid mixture. Like what entails a smoothie? Like you go,
Every smoothie has to have ice, water, milk.
there you go.
and
That's
that's really it. Yeah.
You're going to prove my point. So not every smoothie has milk. So like if you look at the store,
Like ketchup.
like ketchup. So if you look at the store, I don't even know if they're still in business. It was a place called California Smoothie. They had awesome smoothies, but they were fruit smoothies. They would use ice and like Sprite, in a replacement. None of it was milky. None of it had yogurt or anything like that. And they were the best smoothies. They were really, really good. And they're, supposed to be healthy. I mean, this is like going back to the 80s and 90s and stuff like that. So not every smoothie's got yogurt or milk in it.
I didn't know that.
It says ketchup doesn't typically contain dairy, but it can.
Oh my God.
Ketchup dairy, milky ketchup. That sounds disgusting. All right, Branden, what do you want? What do you want from us? Do you want us to say yes? Because I don't want to, because you damn well know it's not yes, but I can't make an argument for it. I'm just too tired. You beat me down. I can't do it.
You say what you want. I'm just trying to get educated here. I like to learn new things.
All right, Chuck, what's the question?
No.
Is ketchup
No.
ketchup's
Ketchup. Ketchup is tomato blood, dude. That's it.
Oh, here we go. No, it's not a smoothie, and I can tell you why. It already has a home under what it is. It's a condiment. So if it already has a placeholder of a name, it can't be another name. Boom.
Yeah, but the whole reason I started with it is because it has fruit in it.
Doesn't matter. It's still a condiment.
I'm sorry. Am I stupid? What does mustard have in it?
Mustard seeds.
Yeah, see,
Is that what
that's
it's
its own
made
thing.
of seeds. Mustard seeds is all it is.
Well, mustard comes from mustard seeds.
Yeah, but see, that's not a blend of a bunch of different stuff, and mustard's not a fruit.
No, mustard comes from the library, or what's the room comes from? You know who invented it, right? That Colonel. The Colonel.
Well, I think they
Colonel
started with
Custard?
mustard gas.
No. And he got killed in the library with a lead pipe.
Not risk. Clue.
You guys don't have one. Colonel Mustard in the library, right? Wasn't that his name, Colonel Mustard?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So it can't be okay. We got to end this. It can't be we can't. It can't. I'd go on fucking for hours talking about this. I guess it can't be. One thing can't be another. How about that? If it's already a condiment, it can't be a smoothie. A condiment can't be a smoothie. But I'll give you this. You can use a condiment in a smoothie. How about that? If you want to put ketchup in your chocolate peanut butter smoothie, then bless your heart and do it.
Yeah, but I mean, like you said, it can't be something else. Like you can turn a hamburger into a hot dog, or a hot dog into a hamburger.
No, you can't.
You just got to smush it up into a hot. That's what brats are.
No, brats are brats. You can't
Yeah,
rename.
but they're hot dog form.
No,
They're
you
in the
can't.
same class.
Just because you're changing what it looks like, you're not changing the taste of it or the ingredients. You can't change what something is. I don't know, man. God, we live in 2024 and dudes are chicks and chicks are dudes. Here's your problem is with these questions like this one right now, you have a identity crisis. That's what you are. You're part of the generation that thinks that you can rename shit. So that's what you're doing right now. You're like, God I was born a boy, but I decided today I'm going to identify as a fucking cat. You know, that's what you're doing right now. That's your mindset. I don't like it.
I just want ketchup to be accepted as a smoothie.
This, here, if you look at Chuck, if you're watching on the YouTube channel at The Bailey Show and you get to watch this episode, when Chuck lives up to that question that was earlier in this episode about the IQs and the SATs and stuff, he just backs off. He gets so far away from the microphone. He's like, I'm dumb. I don't know. I can't argue.
No, because I'm the one that you think I'm the stupid one. You guys are. He just said hamburgers and hot dogs are the same thing.
No, I said they can be transformed into each other.
Let that sink in. He said they're the same thing.
Well,
no, I said they can't. It's the transitive property. Like a square can be a rectangle, but a rectangle can't be a square.
A penis can be a vagina. Yeah, I get it.
Well, the rectangle and square one were good. You probably missed that one on the SAT.
Branden, for you, because on the Spotify app, we can interact with the audience. I'm going to ask the question, is ketchup a smoothie? Okay. And I'll publish those and you can look at those in the app and there you go. Have your way with it. All right. We're done with that. Chuck, you got anything before we get out?
Yeah, guys, ask your wives daily if there's anything they need to tell you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just ask them.
And record that shit. Yeah. All right. Branden, do you have anything before you die?
Yeah, remember to scrub between the toes.
Absolutely. You got to scrub between the toes. TheBaileyShow.com. Do all those things that I mentioned before. Please. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Until next time. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Till next time, check out TheBaileyShow.com. Make sure you like, share, follow on all socials. I leave you with these parting words.
Never got a pink slip either. You know what I would get? A guy would come around to my desk and say, "Get the fuck out of here!" What do we want to talk about?
Subscribe at TheBaileyShow.com.
Yeah, baby.